Hey, welcome to the Gig Doctor. I'm Dane Scott. This is the new show totally focused on helping you succeed as a Fiverr entrepreneur. And coming up, I'll be talking about the purpose of the new show, and I'll introduce you to a little critter I found scampering around inside the Fiverr machinery. Nobody's ever seen it before, so I think I've got kind of an inside track on this. It's coming up.
The Gig Doctor.
All right, so lots to talk about on this first episode. Let me start by thanking everybody who's taking the time to watch or to listen to this, whether it's the YouTube video or the podcast. I'm going to do everything I can to keep these coming often for you, and I'm going to give you every single bit of information I can possibly scrape together that I think is going to be of use to you, and give you as much inside track stuff as I possibly can. For a long time, I was doing studio takes, just studio takes, which was actually a combination of both Fiverr stuff and voiceover stuff, which was great for people who happened to be doing both, but, it was less than ideal because, obviously, you've got some people that aren't doing Fiverr in that group, and you have some people that are not doing voiceover in the group, and so it doesn't really serve anybody other than the ones that are doing both. We've got studio takes, which is the voiceover one, and also quick takes, which is the little 1-minute quickies of studio takes. And then also there's this new one here, the Gig Doctor, which is going to be, longer form like we're doing today. And then also some shorter ones of this too that are called Fiverr Flash, which are all going to be about Fiverr. This whole Gig Doctor series will be all about Fiverr. So that should help, I think, both series target larger audiences, which can only be good after all, right? So here we are. It's you and me, and...
Whoa, that elevator makes me a little seasick.
Okay, so I guess we're not alone after all. Here's the little buddy I was telling you about. This little critter here is someone that I discovered down inside of the Fiverr machinery recently. He was scrambling around down in there, and, he had his crescent wrench, and he was making adjustments, but he knows his way around in Fiverr. And he has some insights that maybe neither you nor I have. So I invited him to be on the show from time to time and tell us what he knows. So his name is Firvee.
It's me, Firvee.
Yep.
Your Fiverr gig. I live inside the Fiverr computer.
And he really knows his way around down there. So I invited him to come on board and tell us what he knows.
Yep, I know all the secrets. Except the ones I'm not telling.
Well, we can't expect miracles, but we'll see what we can get from Firvee during the course of our shows. Interesting name, by the way.
I'm like a Furby, except I'm not. I'm a Firvee. Firvee. Kind of like Fiverr, but spelled funny.
Actually, when I first met Firvee, he couldn't speak, so I had to help him out a little bit and get him a voice. We ran a contest, and it went to this lady right here.
Oh, who's that?
That's Teresa Apple.
I think she's cute.
Well, I'd say that's something that you and she have in common.
I think she's cute.
Yeah, we got that.
How come she got orange hair?
With the orange hair? Well, you'd have to ask her that, but I suspect she was born with it. Just like you were born with that Fiverr green hair of yours. And then there's our intro voice lady, the one that you heard at the beginning of the show. That's Natalie. She has purple hair.
Don't matter about colors. But how come she named after a fruit? Teresa Apple?
Well, I'm not sure, but I know it's spelled a little differently than you're thinking. It's Appel.
I heard her on Fiverr lots of times. I don't think she sounds like me. How come she sounds different?
Well, that's actually kind of interesting. Teresa records her voice, and she sends it to us as a digital file. Then I employ some really old school technology here. I record the digital file onto a reel-to-reel tape like this. And then I turn on an adjustment knob, and I turn it up so that it increases the speed just slightly. And that way she has your lovable voice there, Firvee.
To know me is to love me.
Yep. So, I know you're really busy down there in the machinery, so I'll let you go, Firvee, but we'll see you again soon. Now that Firvee's gone back to the shop, let me explain a little of my thinking on why we brought Firvee into the picture. If you remember Furbies, they were little critters, little stuffed animals. They were a hit. They were big back in the late 90s, the early 2000s, I want to say. Kids just loved them. They were kind of cute, kind of elfish looking. looked a little mischievous maybe, but they had a computer chip in them and eyes that blinked, and they could talk. And they would learn from you, and they would respond to you to a certain degree. And they also required care. If you left them alone, if you didn't feed them, if you didn't take care of them, if you didn't keep them company, if you just neglected them and let them sit, eventually they would die, and you couldn't turn them back on anymore. So they taught kids a little responsibility, maybe. In a lot of cases, I think, kids, they'll do something for a while and they'll get bored and they'll move on, and Firvee's not answering anymore. No big deal. But I think that kind of thing can happen with Fiverr too. This is what got me thinking about Furbies in the first place. Fiverr is much like a Firvee. You have to care for it. You have to maintain it. You have to keep it company. You have to keep making changes and doing things to try and stimulate, what's going on the platform. And so in that sense, it just struck me one day that Fiverr is a lot like a Firvee. And so I thought it might be fun to have a character, basically, that kind of emulates a Firvee. We call him Firvee, which is basically Fiverr just rearranged a little bit, and have him pop up and give us some hints, some tips, some clues, and his own insights from time to time on the Geek Doctor. We won't overdo it with it, but occasionally he'll pop in and pay us a visit. So in this first one, I wanted to just give you that opportunity to meet Firvee, and we're going to be doing lots more of these. I'm going to try and keep them concise, not to stretch them all out and make them into this big long thing every time. So don't be surprised if a lot of our vignettes, our videos and our podcasts are quite short, somewhere between 7 and 10 minutes in length. And then the shorties, of course, the Fiverr flashes, will be all under 60 seconds in length. And I'll try to keep those pouring out for you. All right, I think I've taken up enough of your day for today. I want to thank you again for joining me on this premiere edition of The Gig Doctor. And please subscribe today, like the channel, subscribe to the podcast, leave comments, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm Dane Scott.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, I think.
Hello, cutie pie.
Until I heard the voice, I'd never done a crazy thing in my whole life.
Goodbye.